Why do men keep falling for obvious red flags in women? Let's get this out of the way first. We've all seen it happen. Maybe it's your boy who's suddenly changing his whole personality for a woman everyone can see is playing him. Maybe it's you, watching your own reflection, wondering how you missed the giant neon signs. And yet, time and time again, men keep falling for obvious red flags in women. But why? This isn't about blaming or bashing men. This is about waking up, getting real, and understanding the deeper patterns behind the silly decisions many men make. When it comes to relationships, because the truth is, when it comes to love, or something that looks like it, men sometimes trade logic for illusion. Number 1, the fixer mentality, trying to turn chaos into a queen. There's something deeply rooted in many men that makes them want to save a woman. It could stem from childhood, from religious teachings, or from pop culture ideals that glorify the idea of a man rescuing a broken woman and being her hero. But here's the ugly truth. You can't build a healthy relationship on a foundation of dysfunction. A man might meet a woman who clearly has baggage. Maybe she talks about how all her exes were abusive, how she doesn't do female friends, or how she's been in 15 relationships and every single guy was the problem. Red flags are waving everywhere. And yet he convinces himself that if he loves her hard enough, he'll be the one exception. The deeper problem? This dynamic sets up a relationship where she never has to grow. He carries all the weight, makes all the sacrifices, and loses himself trying to carry someone who refuses to walk on their own. In the end, he ends up exhausted and unappreciated. And she often leaves the moment someone else can offer a bigger fix. You can't turn red flags into green lights just because you don't want to walk away. Number 2, thirst, loneliness, and ego, the unholy trinity. This is where things get brutally honest. A lot of men lower their standards, not out of love, but out of loneliness. Thirst pushes men into situations where physical attention is valued over emotional intelligence. Loneliness tells a man she's better than nothing, and so he stays even when it's damaging. Ego whispers, you can handle it. You're not weak like other men. She needs you. Combine these three, and you've got a man completely blind to red flags. She might mock his goals, belittle his friends, or even flirt with other guys in front of him, and he'll still stay, because part of him fears rejection more than disrespect. Example, a woman keeps flaking on plans, constantly posts thirst traps online, and never initiates conversations. But because she occasionally replies with a flirty emoji or gives him just enough to keep him hopeful, he clings on. He's being breadcrumbed and doesn't even realize he's starving. Men often stay in unhealthy relationships not because they're in love, but because they're afraid to be alone with themselves. Number 3, ignoring the advice of friends and family. When the people closest to you, who know you best, start expressing concerns, that's not hate, that's love. With courage. It's hard to watch someone you care about get emotionally entangled in something destructive. Friends and family often spot things that we can't because they're not emotionally involved. But instead of listening, many men get defensive. They think everyone is jealous or doesn't get it. Example, a guy's girlfriend constantly disrespects him in front of his friends. She calls him names, jokes about his appearance, and even flirts with his best friend. His circle tells him, man, she's bad news. But he replies, you just don't know her like I do. 6 months later, she cheats. He's devastated, alone, and embarrassed, not just because he got hurt, but because he dismissed the ones who tried to protect him. If everyone close to you sees the red flags, except you, chances are you're the one wearing rose-colored glasses. Number 4, confusing toxic traits with passion. Here's a big one. Confusing emotional instability with love. Too many men think that a woman who fights with intensity, cries during every disagreement, or gets jealous over everything must care. A lot, in reality, she's emotionally immature, and that instability is going to cost you your peace. Real love feels calm, secure, and steady, not like a battlefield. Example, a man starts dating a woman who constantly starts fights, but also has crazy make-up sex afterward. He becomes addicted to the highs and lows, the adrenaline of the conflict followed by the rush of reconciliation. He confuses that emotional roller coaster with passion, until the fights start happening weekly, then daily, and finally become emotionally abusive. Chaos is not love. Drama is not affection. Real passion doesn't leave you emotionally wrecked. Number 5. Media and culture play a role. 2. From songs that glamorize toxic love to movies that idolize the emotionally damaged femme fatale. Men are bombarded with messages that confuse dysfunction with desire. We've been told that crazy in love is sexy. That ride or die means staying through emotional hell. That jealousy is proof that someone cares. And so, when men encounter a woman who checks all the wrong boxes, they think it's normal. Worse, they think it's romantic. Social media also plays a twisted role. Men will chase validation by showing off their partner, even if they're being treated terribly behind the scenes. The relationship becomes a performance instead of a genuine connection. Our culture teaches men to chase toxicity and call it passion. That's why so many don't see red flags. They've been trained to think those flags are banners of love. Number 6. The fear of starting over. There's a unique kind of fear that hits when you've invested time, emotions, and energy into someone, and then realize they're not right for you. Instead of walking away, many men double down. They justify the bad behavior because the idea of starting over feels worse than staying. But staying in a bad relationship doesn't protect you. It just delays your healing. Example, a man has been with a woman for 2 years. She's critical, unfaithful, and even emotionally abusive. But he's terrified to start over at his age. He thinks about all the time he spent. He says things like, maybe this is just how relationships are, and convinces himself that no one else will be better. That fear traps him. He doesn't leave until the damage is deep, and by then, his confidence has taken a serious hit. Starting over hurts, but staying stuck slowly kills you. One is short-term pain, the other is long-term destruction. So why do men keep falling for obvious red flags in women? Because we're taught to ignore our instincts, because we confuse attention for love, because we'd rather be wanted than be safe, because the culture makes dysfunction look glamorous, because we're afraid to be alone, because sometimes men are so eager to be the exception that they end up the victim. But it doesn't have to be this way. Men need to stop ignoring the obvious. Stop hoping someone will change just because you want them to. Stop dismissing your peace for temporary pleasure. You can desire someone deeply and still walk away when they're not good for you. Be the man who sees clearly, the one who listens to reason, the one who chooses peace over chaos, self-respect over validation, and truth over fantasy. Because once you stop falling for red flags, you'll start rising into the man you were meant to be. If you're watching or listening to this and it hits a little too close to home, good. That means you're waking up. Don't keep justifying. Don't keep chasing illusions. You deserve a healthy, honest, and peaceful relationship. But first, you need to stop falling for what you want her to be and start seeing her for who she is. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos like these.